Well, hello friends. How you doing? Today we are going to continue working a little bit on the inspector app thingy that we started the other day. So I'll show you the state of it right now. Still basically the same as last time, just made some new icons. And the thing I would like to do today is for these guys here, when I select one of these objects, then I would like to have like a little view, I guess, on the right here that shows us just the different properties that we can learn about that object that we've selected. That's the whole idea, basically. So that's what we're going to do now. So let's just refresh ourselves how this thing worked again. So we had the remote object graph model, which was a G model that contains an object graph with a remote object for everything in the other process that we were inspecting, right? So I think what we're going to do now is, so we were parsing this out from the JSON that we received from the other process in remote object graph model update. So I think what we're going to do here is we are, in addition to saving the address and the name and the class and stuff of this thing, we're just going to stash away everything that we learn. So I guess we can just call it JSON, and we'll just make a copy of this and put that in the remote object thingy here. So we'll call it JSON because there's so much more in that JSON object that we could show in a different interface if we just have a different interface or a different thing. Now, I think we're gonna want to put this thing outside of the object graph model, so we're gonna have to move this out because I want to have a different model that shows the properties of a specific remote object. So let's put this into its own thing. I guess we can just call it a remote object and a remote object, maybe a remote process. Okay, so let's do that. So let's see, let's touch DevTools, inspector, remote process, and remote object.h. And maybe we'll do a remote object property model. And I think maybe that's good enough for now. And of course we'll have to edit the makefile for this. So let's see, remote process and remote object property model. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I wanted to do that. Update my creator. If you, I made a video a few days ago about how I set up Qt Creator, so that's where this comes from. If you're interested in using Qt Creator for Serenity development, then you can check out that video, and I show you exactly how I set everything up. Because people kept asking, and I figured, you know, the easiest way to do it was probably to show it in the video. Anyways, so let's, oh, what's this business? Not marked override. Oh, it's missing an override. But I've already edited this class. Okay, wait, hold on. Maybe we can just make this tiny little edit here. DevTools, inspector, remote object, graph model, H. Just that one change? Yeah. Missing override. Graph. Yep, that was going to bother me forever otherwise, so we'll just put that back. And now we want to take this and put it in a separate file. Oh, that didn't work. I thought I copied it or cut it. Okay. system includes act vector, act string. Sometimes I feel very annoyed that this thing is called act string, but the reason it is that way is because on case insensitive file systems, like my stupid macOS machine that I wish I would have set up case sensitive, so it's really my fault, but I've been compiling stuff on it sometimes, and then this was causing me trouble somehow. I don't even remember anymore why. Maybe it's because I was including it this way, and it would conflict with this. Maybe when I do this, it doesn't actually matter. Maybe I should... Okay, let's not get sidetracked. Anyway. Pack on putter. And this should actually be a non-null on per vector. I see, because we don't allow null remote objects in the child list. And then we're also going to need JSON object, yokily-dokily. That's good. And then let's also see what else we wanted to do here. We want to take this and put it into, oh, this is getting crowded here. Let's do a remote process. Once. We'll just make these into a simple struct for now, and then we can figure out what goes in it. But basically, we're just taking the data we already have and then moving it elsewhere just to see how it makes sense to organize this data. I think we can do a remote object like this. Because basically, what we care about right now in a remote process is just the set of root remote objects, because from there we can find each individual remote object subtree. Right. And then I feel like this JSON right here, we don't need to keep that around. I don't know why we do. So what we're going to do instead, I guess, is this thing here is going to have an update function. And we'll go in remote process CPP. I'll say remote process update. This is probably going to go from a struct to a class very soon. But we'll see. And because we're going to take all of this gunk here and move it out of the model. Where's update? Here, right. So, and then I guess the model is, instead of having a PID, it's going to have a remote process as his like object that he gets all the data from. So yeah, let's just turn that into a class right away, because this is going to spiral out of control anyway. But this thing can remain a struct for now. Okay, and then let's see the PID, we can move over here. Actually, like that is fine. Don't need that. Socket, oh, the socket here too. And we'll say libcore C socket, C local socket. Look at you, growing a little bit. Okay, and then here we'll just say that the remote process and remote process. We'll do that, and then we can say that the process will own a remote object graph model. So we'll do something like graph footer graph model. Object graph model and object property model, Or no, this one is a bit different actually. Because that one is, the property model is going to be owned by an individual object. Okay, so we'll do it this way for now. And we'll say class, remote, object, graph, model. All right. And I guess pig t goes here. I think we're good there. Inspector main. Let's see how this is going to be used. Remote process. Say remote object. Okay, so then at the bottom here, we'll do like remote process. PID and we'll say that this would be the remote process dot graph model. We'll get it out that way. Remote process. So we'll add a getter for it. We'll just say remote object graph model. Yeah. Set model. Oh, that's cool. We allow that. Okay. Yeah, that looks really cool. And then I guess we can do this. Right. Maybe this function actually can just be trivial. Okay, like that. Because we're going to construct this immediately, I think. So we'll just do that in the constructor. Object graph model. Need to include that. Create. This. I mean, that's kind of redundant actually, so we'll just say process. Okay. And impid is like that. Well, I want to keep it like that, so we'll do that. But then this can be a non-null ref putter because so non-null ref putter is usually it's a little bit hard to use it as a member type because it cannot be null. So you have to initialize it in the constructor initializer list, which is what we're doing here. Because like if you try to do this down here, then it will complain that this constructor is lacking an initializer. Like there is no default constructor of non-null ref putter. That's why it's complaining. So you have to do it in the initializer list if you're using a non-null ref putter. But so it's cumbersome that way, but it's also very nice because it documents the fact that this thing is never null. So I like using it. It's just a little bit cumbersome. Anyways. Oh shit, I guess we need some stdio here. And what are these? Remote objects. I guess we should have some of those. Okay. So we can just do that. JSON. Call it JSON array, I guess. Object array. Something like that. It is copy constructed. Wow, that's not what I want. Okay, so see, that's a very nice clang tidy warning right there. It's copy constructed from a const reference, but only used as a const reference. Plop. That's very cool. Thank you, Clang Tidy. Because it was Clang Tidy, right? Yeah, Clang Tidy. Okay, so then here, what we're going to want to do is update our model at this point. And then, because this used to be the model update logic, but this is now instead it's like the remote process update logic. So remote object graph model update is going to do what exactly? I guess we'll just call did update, honestly, because all that will do is just tell everyone to repaint, which is probably enough. Okay. And here we're gonna need some remote object. Process. Okay, and then we'll say mProcess dot remote roots. We'll just expose it like this. I think that's cool enough. So we'll say we'll do it like this. Maybe we'll just call it roots actually. It's a cool name, roots. All right. Remote roots. mProcess.roots. Boom. It's a little underwhelming, but okay. No viable conversion from a non-null putter vector t. Right, because we gotta slap an amp on that. Same thing with you. And I think that's cool. Okay, so then what did we have in remote object? So here, I guess after we create this, let's just do remote process update. Oh, that should be like the very last thing we do before we start the program. Okay. Jeez, that's a lot of changes. Let's see if things even build anymore. Meanwhile, I guess we should make this into a horizontal layout. Or we could even use a splitter, actually. Let's see. Let's make the main widget. Oh, this can be the main widget still, but let's put a splitter in here. So auto splitter is new. G splitter. Okay, and then we'll say the tree view is a child of the splitter. And then we'll also add a table view. Property table view. Properties table view. Yeah, that's pretty good. And this one, we'll just not set a model for now. And we'll just do properties like that. And DevTools inspector sudo sync and run. Just to see how this turns out. Okay. So it's kind of cool, right? Like this is here is going to be the where we see the properties once we actually get them. Yeah, okay. So then what are we gonna do now? I guess we should build a model for that. So I gave it a name already. Let's go and give it some functions. So let me just grab these. Remote object property model. Just make that final. And no, object graph model. Did I make object graph model final? Yes, I did. Okay, good boy. And I guess we can make one of these for that one too. Luigi model. But this one is going to instead point to a remote object. Class remote object. Yeah. I'm just gonna make it I'm just gonna let these things be classes. I don't know why I thought that I was gonna have them be structs. Doesn't really matter, but right, okay. So then let's see which ones of these we want. So column count is gonna be, I guess we'll do one of these. Enum column name value count. There we go. Okay, and then for row name, who cares? Column name, that one will implement. Maybe we can ignore this one. And let's see, maybe we have to implement these. Yeah. Okay, and then column count what? Oh, it doesn't say override, right? Right. Remote object property model. It needs to have remote object, we need to point to it. Right, so let's just be super simple here and just say this, and let's just assume that these things never go away for now, because we'll grab one state of the remote program and then we'll work with that. But then we should fix this up eventually so that we can do like periodic updates and get like live state from the other process. But right now we're just gonna like pretend like it will never go away. So just to make things easier right now. Right, so remote object property model. I feel like I didn't define this constructor anywhere. Well, now we did. All right, and okay, oh, forgot to say override. Right, so let's just do these one by one. Object dot we need the definition of it. So that's going to be the JSON dot size. Remember, that was the very first thing that I talked about here, is that we're going to stash away all of the properties that we know about this remote object. So that the row count of this property model is the count of entries in that JSON object. And then we need the column name. So string remote object property model column name. Wants to switch column. Okay, and then G variant data. Goes, and then also finally void update, right? So update, I guess, can just do did update, just be a dummy like that. Maybe this should be the default implementation instead of being a pure virtual, maybe. Because like some models, they don't need to do anything when you ask them to update. They can just like, because they're just like dummy wrapper models basically. So if you tell this model to update, then all that he does is just fetch the latest data from the, whatever his data source is anyway. Although maybe that's not great behavior. Maybe the model should like tell the data source to update in this case. I don't know. That's something for future Andreas to worry about. It doesn't matter right now. Okay, so then if role is role display. Otherwise, yeah. And then let's say that. Oh, this is kind of interesting because the JSON object has is a hash map internally, and we can't index into that. So this is a little bit tricky. So I guess what we should do. Maybe the easiest way to do this is to just make a vector here. We'll say, I'll just put the JSON value in here. Why not? Who cares? I mean, this is really ugly though, because it means that this isn't live. Ugh. But, well, we'll do this way anyway. Template argument. Yeah, what the hell kind of type do I think I'm inventing here? Yeah. Okay, and then when we do update, I guess now we'll do this caching that I was talking about just a moment ago. So we'll say m properties clear and m object.json.for each member. Then sync is auto key and auto value. And then we can just ignore the key actually. Or wait, hold on. No, we want to keep the key. Okay, I am silly. Name and value. Yeah. Okay, that here too. And then we'll just say m properties append name value. Cool. And then here we'll say property is m properties index row. And switch index.column. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. All right, what did I forget? I can't append these because they don't have a constructor. It's buzzing. Well, I guess I'm just gonna be lazy and not use append, because I don't want to add a constructor to it right now. So we'll just use good old append. And oh shit, we're not actually creating any of these object models yet. So let's see what we do with that. That would be in the inspector main. When you select something in this tree view, so let's see, on, which one do we do? On activation. Let's say on activation for now. We'll put that here so we can, so this thing is available. And then we need to get the remote object that we are looking at. And the way that we get that is by hackery. We know that the index, in this case, has internal data that points to the remote object. So object is static cast remote object index.internal data. Okay, and then we should just be able to do a properties table view set model remote object property model. Okay, and then, oh, maybe we can make this a little, or no, hold on. Ref footer remote object property model. And let's see. Oh, we're gonna need a CPP file for this. I was trying to avoid it for some reason. Okay, let's just add a constructor, whatever. Put that down here, and we'll add a little helper. And then remote objects PP. Let's do property model. No, not this model, the other model. Property model. There we go. Yeah, like that. Okay. And what did we forget? Oh shit, yeah, this is not declared here. But remote process, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. Remote object property model in remote process. Why is this, wait, why is this here? Bref, if not, no. Oh shit, yeah, right, because we're destructing one of them. Remote object property model. So if you destroy an object, then you need to have all of the dependencies for the destructor. That's why we needed to include property model.h, because now that we added a property model to the remote object, and we can't destroy a remote object without having that definition. no matching functionally function. Calling this. Why can't I convert this to a that? Probably because I need to include object property model here too. Okay. Well, I am curious to see something, so I'm not seeing anything. I was hoping we would get something here. So, okay, we're not quite there yet. Let's see if we can cheat with that thing. Set activates on selection, true. Just to force out the activations. Really, like, activate and select in the views. It's like this kind of a deprecated concept, or I'm trying to get away from it, but the idea earlier was that, like, selection means that you click once on something, and activation is that you double click on something, or press enter while something is selected. But it's very confusing, and I'm not quite sure what to do with it. So what do you say? What do you would say? Set. Oh man, what is that thing that you tell that? Oh, this is supposed to be a table view. Set size columns. Size columns to fit content. Yeah, that's the one I wanted. What's the wrong type of view? But I don't feel like I fixed enough of this to actually make something different. Maybe I did. Oh, well, we made something different. So now we are crashing in remote object property model beta. Okay. Remote object property model. Oh, I bet it's because we never actually call update on that sucker. So we're just gonna lazily do that here. And we can also, since we're creating our own representation of that data, then let's just do it like this, so that the row count is always consistent with the names and values that we extract. Otherwise, like, sourcing that information from two different locations is like, it's not great. Okay, right, so now at least a model shows up, but we don't see a lot of interesting stuff in the model, of course, but at least we're seeing something. So why are these all empty? Well, who knows? Are we setting this anywhere? JSON is equal to remote object.json is object. I feel like I'm making a copy of that here. Let's see. ROPM update. JSON size is JSON.size. Properties size. Property size, and then we'll just do this at the end here, so we'll know how much we came up with. They should be the same, I would think. They're all zeros. Wait, why are we calling all of these? Oh, right, because we're constructing all of these. Oh shit, yeah, right. because I think we're just updating too early. So remote object. Right, so this is the only time, like when we construct a remote object, but then if you recall, like we construct a remote object here, and we call update here, and then we actually assign to JSON here. So JSON is always empty when we update it. So what we want to do instead, I guess, is we can just be a little cheesy and do like this. Okay, I'll put that out of line then. I almost spelled it right. Okay. Now we'll always update the model before we hand it out to one of our clients. Okay, look at that. Now we can actually see some frickin' things. Very, very cool. So let's look in some GUI programs, because those will have like a little bit more stuff to look at. Right, so here, this is the launcher app. We can see the title is launcher, and we can open this up and look at some buttons. So this is the file manager. That's tooltip. And I can see tooltip file manager. Pretty cool, huh? Right, visual builder. That's this guy down here. Presumably this is the system monitor. Yep. Click that guy. And it takes an eon to load. And here we are. And oh, I wanna look at the system monitor actually. So that's PID 25. That's probably gonna be kind of big and chunky, because this app is getting very complex with all these features. But it's, oh, we have some tree view line rendering glitches here, I see. But how cool is this, that you can actually look at the different stuff? So like you can see the like the dimensions of everything. It's too damn cool. All right. Let's commit this. So that's just a whole lot of stuff in the inspector. Remote process. Okay, so this is a big ass commit. And this is the type of commit where I don't really go through it like line by line, because like I've just been sitting here writing the thing and it's like just shoving all of this new stuff in. And then I tend to instead, like as I then iterate on it, that's when I start to like document how the thing works. I don't know why. Maybe that's kind of stupid actually. Maybe I should try something differently. Let's look at it. Let's do it this way. Okay, so make file changes. Remote object. The remote object now is just a basically the thing that we had in the remote object graph model before. So it's the these values right here: the address, the parent address, the class name and name, plus all the properties, and also now a remote object property model. So that we just factor that out of the object graph model. And then the object graph model is now a wrapper around a remote process rather than keeping all the data himself. So then all these changes are just wrapping that object instead of managing the data internally. Then here, the remote object graph model, same thing here, right? Yeah, this data here was moved to separate classes. And here is the property model that we added. So it's just a simple name and value model that makes his own cache in order to have index-based lookups because this is a hash map. The JSON objects are not index storage. So we just convert them to index storage because that makes implementing the model easier. Of course, we could like iterate here to find like the nth index into the hash map, but that would just be silly. Right, and here's the definition of that class. This makes me wonder if maybe we should make an ACK pair template. But it's okay right now. Okay, so here's remote process, which automatically has a remote object graph model. This makes me realize that remote object can use a non-null ref footer for this. No need for that to be a ref footer. And yeah, so this is just the socket connection code. We took that from remote object graph model and moved here. The only change we made is here, this where we just copy out the whole JSON object so that we stash it away in the remote object for later lookup by the property model. Okay, and here's a remote process class. We have one of these. You construct it by providing a PID, and then you call update, and he will connect to the remote process, fetch the remote object graph, and then turn that into a beautiful remote object graph model, which is a wrapper around himself because he stores all the roots. Okay. Right. And then in main here, now we add a splitter to be the default, be the UI basically. And we construct one of these remote processes, and then we slap a table view next to the tree view. And when you activate the tree view, like when you select something in it, then we open up that particular object in the properties table view. That's it. Cool. So let's just do this, and we'll say, oh, we want everything. Inspector. Show object properties in a table view. This patch moves remote object. This patch expands object model. This program quite a bit. We now have a remote process object, a list of remote root remote objects. Remote process vends a remote object graph model, and indices in that model have internal data pointing to a corresponding remote object. Remote objects in turn vend remote object property model, which is what we use to show the object properties. This is pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. It's pretty cool. So let's do one of those full builds because I'm a little paranoid. But maybe it's unfounded. I don't know what would have broken. I was just editing this one app. But yeah, so I think we're getting to the end of today's video here. Friends. So we're just gonna see it one last time. And let's look at something else. Let's look at the 4chan viewer app. Oh, it crashed. Well, that's not what I wanted. Sometimes we get a lot of kernel problems here. Something that we should also debug sometimes, but not right now. Okay, so where's the chain viewer? Pip23. So let's inspector 23. Echo 23, see what's up. Okay. Right, so here are these guys. This is the combo box, I guess. This guy right here. Yeah, that's probably him. It's kind of funny, you can see the combo box has a window as a child, which is this window that pops up. So I guess when we took the snapshot, then this one would be not visible. Yeah, you can see right here, this window is not visible. So this is the pop-up window with the list, and it has a list view in it. The list view has scroll bars, and like, isn't this just kind of neat that you can see all this stuff? And the scroll bars, they have timers because when you press down and hold down, then it does this, and it uses a timer. There's that timer. You know, we're still like very early stages here, obviously, but I think this is shaping up to be a very interesting little tool. Yeah, very, very nice. Okay, so I think this is going to be it for this video, like I said. So if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching and for coming back, and for you know, subscribing, commenting, leaving likes, and to all the Patreon supporters, thank you for your support, and to all the people on IRC, hello to you. And I don't know why I'm sending out the greetings, so thank you for hanging out once again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.